Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond, broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off. Gloves Off is always on point. On point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by the best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off.
We're back at you with Gloves Off, and today we have a great city councilman and a good friend of mine, Mercurio Martinez. How we doing?
Oh, we're doing good. We're having fun.
That's what it's all about. Yeah, you've been 5 months now, right?
That's correct.
And what's going on?
Well, a lot of issues going on. But first of all, the dynamics of council has changed dramatically, and this is what the mayor has told me. We have two new elected city councilmen, Dr. Martinez and myself, and that's all that's changed within these last year's council and this year's council. But the dynamics, by adding us two and taking out two, the dynamics of the whole council has changed.
In which way?
Well, in a very positive way. The mayor. I had a conversation with the mayor, and the mayor's like, Merc, we're having conversations that we weren't having before. Let's, for instance, the water, wastewater.
That's a subject that's been on
it's
for a while.
It's a subject. Here's the interesting thing about the water, wastewater. Everywhere I go, nobody asks me about the rate increase. I have to bring it up. People understand that we're growing. People understand that we need to make improvements. People understand the dynamics of how it works, and they're okay with it. But then we get to council, and we have the social media, and we have on the social media we've got the same people that are saying, oh, they're raising our taxes, our rates, they're raising our water rates, they can't do it, you can do it another way. Well, you know what? They've been talking about it for several years. Previous council never acted on it. But we see the severity of the problem. I live in the Heights area. Our water pressure's low. I hear that the water pressure in the Del Mar area is low too. So I started to inquire. I went to the water department and I said, why do I have very low water pressure? And they said, it's simple. We cannot crank up the water pressure at the plant. We could do it easily, but then we start having water leaks everywhere. And we experienced this in the Heights. When they put that water tower and they started to open that pressure, all of a sudden, every street out there had water leaks. So we have to replace the water pipes. We don't have the money to replace them. We have some money, but not a bunch of money. And so you started seeing all of these work crews going in and digging up the water pipe and putting a patch on it. And so when you patch one side, Guess what happens to the other side?
That's good.
And they go. So what did they do? They started to turn down the water pressure. All right. So it's not just the developers. And let me tell you, the developers are going to make their money either way, whether it's they have to pay for it or all of the citizens have to pay for it. They're going to do it. But why? Because they pass on the cost for making a water plant or making a wastewater plant or putting the infrastructure, the pipes.
It's passed on.
It's passed on to the end user.
So the end user.
So we wind up paying for it anyway. I'm a realtor, okay? And I get people coming and they say, okay, I want to buy a house. I live in an apartment and I want to buy a house. Oh, great. My credit's good. Oh, good. Do you know how much you want to spend? Well, no. But I know that I can afford, $1,000 a month or something like that. And okay, well, let's go to talk to a mortgage lender. The mortgage comes in and I might say, hey, the mortgage lender might say, well, they can afford a $150,000 home. Okay. If we go anywhere, you can't buy anything new because it costs a lot of money to buy the land, the lot. Why? Because the developer, the city is charging them fees.
Of course.
Water and wastewater. They are paying for it. But in order to do all of the infrastructure that is needed, not just in the new areas, but the old areas like my area, we need money to redo that infrastructure. And we just don't have that money.
There's something that you mentioned right earlier. On social media, the same disgruntled individuals. Mm-hmm. These are the same ones that were during the campaign, were last year and 2-3 years. They're the same people that all they do is they get on their little bully pulp on social media. I'm gonna hate to use the word bitch at everybody, curse people out, insult everybody, go attack family members of individuals that have nothing to do with it, and yet they still cannot come up with one solution.
Yeah.
They have more theories than a carnival guy that's trying to get you to throw the dart at the balloon, than they can come up with. And what happens here is that, number one, we need to ignore those or physically just tune them out. Or just, that's a solution.
Well, as a councilman, I look at them because, that you've got some people that are genuinely, have issues. And so
personal issues.
Well,
mentally,
that too. Well,
some of the ones that was.
And then you get those that are in social media that if you look at to find out who they are, nameless.
They're fake.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll have a picture of this. Where are your family photos? Okay.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, and those that have the family photos and you know who they are. Hey, they're actually doing some research and they've got a personal gripe or they have an issue that fine. And those are the ones that, as a city council, I'm looking at and I'm saying, okay, they've got merit. Let me see what I can do. Okay.
And as a good businessman, you look at the negative comments that they make about your business because you want to improve. And that's where you come from. Oh man, I messed up here. You know what? How did I mess up? Let me correct myself for me to better myself.
That's right.
And that's what you try to do.
I'm trying to be the intelligent analyst that the people elected me to be. And so I'm doing the research. I'm talking to a lot of experts in the fields of water and wastewater management. And I mean, the cards were there. And I can't please everybody. I can't please everybody all of the time. And so we have to do what's good for the community. We have to do what's good for our area. And so the water wastewater department has to stand on its own. We cannot take money from the general fund to try and make these corrections.
Rob from Peter to pay Paul.
Right. And so wastewater has to stand on its own. So thus the water rates. Now, if you're in social media, 32% of our population lives below the poverty line. And okay, fine. probably they use less than 10,000 gallons a month in water. And so if you're looking at 10,000 gallons or less, your rate is going to go up by your bill, actually your monthly bill is going to go up by $2.30 a month. That's what it is. People go and buy sodas and beer and meats and, you know, and other stuff, you know, and that costs a lot more. A bottle of water costs more.
You're exactly right. And now, kind of moving past the water issue, because it's something that's going to be ongoing.
Sure.
What have you seen? How about the hospital in your area? What's
Well,
going on with that?
let me tell you that I've been working with the building owner, and if in fact the investment that he is working on with his partner goes through, it's going to change the landscape of Laredo. It's going to change the dynamics of Laredo. It's going to put Laredo in a different map completely. The investor that the building owner is working with is looking to do a World Trade duty-free business within the second, third floors of that building. And as such, they're going to bring, imagine going, I mean, you go to Dallas to the World Trade Center,
sure,
and you buy and stuff, that would be here. And when I asked him, why Laredo? Why not, you know, somewhere else? And he actually told me Houston was courting him. Houston wanted him. He's got this type of business in all over the world. He's in Singapore, he's in Dubai, he's in different areas. The building owner had heard about this guy and was introduced to this guy, and then the building owner, if you know him, he is tenacious. I mean,
sure,
he's out there and he won't take no for an answer, and he's just out there. And so he eventually convinced this guy to come to Laredo, because Laredo was nowhere on his radar. So he brings him to Laredo, and all of a sudden his jaw drops. He finds out that we have anywhere from 14 to 16,000 tractor trailers going through our bridge every single day. And he starts looking at the numbers when it comes to import-export. And he realizes that we are the #1 inland port in the country.
and the second port.
And we are the second largest port in the country. Larger than New York, Chicago, Dallas, Houston. Larger than any one of those, okay? And all of a sudden we've got his attention. And so he starts to look at our culture and how we speak both English and Spanish and the whole bit. And he realizes, my God, this is a diamond in the rough. We can do things. And then he saw our strategic location and he said, there's the world. You got South America, Central America, Mexico, US, Canada. Perfect. Laredo's the place to be. And he said no to Houston. And now he's committed to come here. We still have to jump through a few hurdles. We have to become a duty-free zone for that area. We as a city are committed to help improve the neighborhood. That's my commitment as a council member. That's what I ran on. But we've been able to open doors for that. You still see it the way it was last year and the year before and the year before, but that's going to be changing pretty soon. We're going to see a beautiful building that we Laredoans are going to be very proud of.
And it's good that it's happening.
Mm-hmm. And not just that building, but the buildings around there.
Sure.
I'm looking at improving all of Corpus Christi, making it so much more pleasing for the eye. Yes.
And there's great properties in all that area.
There is. There used to be it.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Everybody left.
Everybody went north.
Everybody went north.
All the doctors went to Doctor's Hospital, and then all of a sudden everybody bounced over to.
Laredo Medical
Yeah.
Center and in those areas.
Exactly.
Well, the dynamics is gonna change, just like our downtown is changing. As we were always used to the outlet type stores downtown, all of downtown. And slowly that is starting to change. There are 18 cantina bars out there, or music areas. You're starting to see our youth, our young population gravitate to that area, and it's now an area where they can go and eat and enjoy a beverage or cocktail, you know.
Sure.
So it's changing slowly, but not reluctantly. So the dynamics is happening, and it's nice. Maybe we can attract our youth to come back to Laredo. Give them an opportunity.
We hope. Another thing that we're talking about, and everybody's talking about, is taxes. We heard that you're trying to lower the taxes down, aren't you? Just what's going on with that?
Again, looking at the water, wastewater, we had to do what we had to do. No sense of I mean, we had to do it. Even our council members that voted no said, yeah, you know, we need to do something about it.
You have to.
But they voted no for different reasons. Anyway, but
The majority are running.
well, I mean, that's one theory. But because we have to do something over here, then we said, why don't we look around and see if we can give something back to the community? And so we're looking at the rate, the tax rate. The appraisal district's doing their job. The Webb County Appraisal District, they are valuing property. And you can't argue with that. You know, they look at market value, and they have to assess it to everybody. And they don't care, you know, what it is, but it has to be uniform. And they're doing a good job. Martin Villarreal, who's the chief appraiser there, Bobby Paragoy and company, they're professionals. And like I said, they're excellent. They're good at what they do. But it's the taxing entities that control the rate, okay? The city of Laredo has its tax rate, LISD, UISD, Webb County, Laredo College, they all have their own rate. I can manipulate that as a councilman, but I have to we have to look at their budget.
Sure.
So we got to look at the budget. So come budget time, I couldn't do it when I was raising the water rates, because that's not the time to do it. But come budget time, okay, let's look at the budget. Where can we trim? Where can we cut? What can we do? Because my goal is to lower the tax rate, and I'm committed to do that. All right.
And what's your idea, or what are you looking at in cutting?
Well, we don't know that until we go through the budget process. We got to see what's there. You can't just pick something out of thin air and target it. We got to look at all the individual departments. But one of the things that we have to do as a city is compartmentalize. So you have the water, wastewater, and that needs to stand on its own. Mm-hmm. You have the bridge system that brings in income that other cities don't have. And so we're looking at the infrastructure needs of the city, the roads, etc. We have to maintain those roads. So income coming from the bridge system should go back to the bridge system, but it should also go back to improving all of our infrastructure, our roads, etc. And hopefully we can contain that money for that area, right, for that, and then have our ad valorem taxes to do fire and police protection.
You know,
there were parks.
I was talking to several folks, and everybody said the same thing. We're paying way too many taxes, and there's nothing for the city to show for it. And I
We
was
have
kinda
a lot of things in
And
the
I was
city to
like,
show for
okay,
it.
let's start looking and see what we do have to show for. Number one, our first responders are A1.
Yeah, they're second to none.
Yeah,
They're
they're
the
A1.
best.
And they don't care.
They are. They are the
They don't
best.
care about your sexual preference. They don't care about your political affiliation. They're going to go out there and they're going to give their life for you.
That's right.
And A1 for you guys that are out there.
And here's a reason why you have to protect them. When there's a fire, there's a lot of chemicals out there that, I mean, this is
Sure.
a chemical in
Sure,
itself.
sure.
This, everything. There's glue in here. And when it burns, it releases toxins. And you and I aren't going to go in there to put it out, but they are. And they're inhaling all of this stuff. Okay? And the cancer rate on a firefighter is much higher than any other industry out there, because they're going in there and they're putting their lives on. So we have to protect them. We have to
No,
make
they're
sure.
doing a good job because when you need them, when
they're there.
they're there.
Oh,
And
I've heard that they sit there, do nothing, twiddle their thumbs, but they have to be ready whenever.
Exactly right.
whenever they're there.
And they're going to jump up and they're going to be there.
Same as our police officers.
Yeah, police officers,
Police
same way.
officers, we got to protect them too. While they're protecting us, we got to protect them too.
And they're doing good, but what else do you think?
Well,
Do we have any departments that are double departments that we need to get rid of?
I think we need a lot of help in a lot of these departments. We got good people, we just haven't had the right direction. Our planning and building department needs a lot of help. We just hired a planner. He starts June 5th. And so hopefully he can bring something to the table that we need to be customer friendly, because we are not. All right. And I've been telling our city managers, which, by the way,
That finally somebody said, you know what, we're not customer
We're
friendly,
not.
and we have to be.
we have to be, because who pays our bills? We do. We pay our,
Yeah.
we're keeping them with a job.
You're absolutely correct.
And then the attitude was always, what do you want? No, how can I help you should be the attitude. Let me help you.
You're absolutely correct. I would fly over. I just came back from Chicago from teaching over there, and American Airlines has done a negative. This past time, lost luggage, cancellation of flights, both here in Laredo as well as in DFW, as well as but it was only American Airlines. Okay, there were some weather issues, but American Airlines. On the way back, the seatings they changed whatever they wanted to. They were no longer customer friendly. No more empathy. They do the smile and they do their little, they go through their little spiel, but that's not it, So everybody that was in those flights, because I talked to them, we're all sitting down there for about 4 hours inside the plane in DFW, and everybody else was moving except that one. And then they put it back in, and then they put it back forward, and then they said, oh, we had something wrong with the log. No, we do have something right with the log. And so it was one thing right after another. So
They forget their
the
place.
place.
They
That's
forget
exactly right.
the reason why they're there.
And we can have great plans for the future.
Mm-hmm.
We can have the world, I'm just saying World Trade Center coming over here.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have American Airlines as the only one that's going to be bringing in people here, we better start catering to bringing in some other airlines as well.
Well, we're working on that.
We
working
need
direct
more.
lines to Mexico also.
Of course,
So
we
we're
need
working
that.
on that. Little by little, we don't have an airport director yet. We have a co-director, interim director, and she's doing a fabulous job. And she's made some changes that are good changes. We actually have some very good people.
We do.
Our co-city managers, my God, I'm impressed with them. They know their job. They know their duty. They're good people, very honest people. I'm very happy with them, but we have to find the one person that's going to be the city manager. But together they're fantastic.
My next question, sorry for interrupting. How's that coming along? How long is that interim going to last?
Well, I think that process is taking a little longer than I would hope. We already put in place a a citizens committee, different walks of life. Each council member appointed one person, and the mayor appointed one person as well. They're looking at they're setting the criteria for what we want in a city manager, and then once that criteria is set, they will go out and hire a consulting firm that will go look for. One thing is to advertise, hey, we're looking for a city manager, but the other thing is to be a headhunter, to go and look for different people out there and saying, hey, we have this opening, you should apply for it. The former city manager of San Antonio I interviewed her, and she wasn't interested in this job, but she was with the city of San Antonio for 13 years.
Look how that turned out.
Well, yeah, she did a lot of good.
I'm glad she's not coming over.
No, she's done a lot of good. She really did from the previous administration. As a matter of fact, she is held in very high esteem by a lot of communities, because from her you get the Pearl Brewery, how that changed, how the King Williams area has changed, how the Alamo Heights area has changed. It was through her leadership and efforts that she took urban development to a whole new level. And so there's a lot of positives. Granted, when you're a city manager, you have some bad stuff and some good stuff, but and they all have, even our predecessors, all have their good stuff and their bad stuff. And that's why the average life of a city manager is 7 years. No, it's a little under 7 years. Because
how much is the average life here?
It's about 7 years.
Here in Laredo?
Here in Laredo, 7, 8 years, something like that. Yeah, now, I mean, don't count the last two that we had, but you had, prior to that, you had Carlos Villarreal, and he was in here a long time.
And you had Ralph Garcia?
Well, no, you had Laredo Valina.
Between
He
Carlos
was here
and
for a long time.
Between Carlos and Larry and Carlos, you had Ralph Garcia. Then you had.
No, Ralph was in interim.
No, he was placed, wasn't he?
No, I think he was interim.
Then you had Flo before.
You had Flo, who was here. He was
good. He was actually good.
He was here for a good while too, 7, 8 years. That's about the average lifespan of. Why? Because they are hired to run and to say no and to do here and to do there, but a lot of times they say no. And so when you have conocidos coming over and they're telling them no, and then those conocidos start going and putting a lot of pressure. And I say conocidos because they're people that are known in the community, and not just people, entities, fire department, police department. They all have their unions and they all want their things. And if you're not playing ball with them, then they want you out, and they want somebody that's going to play ball with them. That's kind of how the dynamics of government is.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. So that person, the former city manager of San Antonio,
But she's gonna come.
No, she's not coming.
So
but I called to see what and how and where, what should we look for, and da. You know, it was a good interview, and she told me that in the previous city that she was at, San Antonio came knocking. They knocked on her door, and she said, "No, I'm not interested." She was in Atlanta, and then they didn't give it up. They went and they knocked on her door, a few months later, and she said, "I'm not interested." 3 times they went knocking on her door. Finally, she said, "I'll take it."
Who are you looking at now?
Nobody yet. Right now it's open. We're putting together the dynamics so that we'll know.
When do you expect this change?
That's up to the committee. It truly is a citizens committee trying to have the citizen input. And so we've got different people in there. They're going to go through the vetting process, and they will probably recommend 3 or 4 people to us, and then the city council will make a decision. but we're not in there micromanaging or anything like that. We're letting them do what they were appointed to do.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
I think
That's
so.
what I think has changed now between January to now
Mhm.
than what it was in the past.
We're not dictating. We're
Yeah, actually,
we
everybody.
actually
I
have
think everybody got called out. Period.
Yeah.
During when you ran, I think everybody was called out, and they said, "Oh, wait a minute, we're everybody that's in there right now, that was there previous. They have a head in their shoulder. Okay,
Well,
they're smart people.
Yeah. Well,
And
right
what-
now we have a business.
That's what I'm saying to you. So when they were being called out, the first thing that happened was, you know what, we're messing up. Let's kind of change things. Let's work with each other. Why are we fighting against each other? So now
Yeah.
you see that amicable change. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we're all
Have a buck
talking to
fist
each
and get your
other.
coffee, you know. But from that, you know, that's what I see from the outside,
Well, more than anything, we respect each other. There's a lot of respect amongst us,
and it should be that way.
And they're really smart individuals.
That's what I said.
They have their community at heart, and they really want to do well for the community. And so
And we have 4 of them running this upcoming election, huh?
we have 4 coming up for re-election. Yeah.
And let's see how that, you know, turns out. Good luck for everybody.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
But, you know,
The public will ultimately decide.
that's exactly right. It's going to be a different election, but I think so.
Hmm. But I'm excited. We got good stuff coming along.
What do you see in the near future? What projects in your area do you see being changed quickly, besides the hospital? But the hospital's going to take a
Well,
while.
we're
What do you see?
talking about, I mean, if people say there's nothing to do, I mean, you should go look at our parks. We have some beautiful parks. We have the Haynes Rec Center. I have one of my colleagues that said, man, I want to play tennis, and the best tennis courts are on Market. I said, have you gone to the Haynes
No.
Center? The
Haynes Rec Center is beautiful.
court.
It's a beautiful
Really
court.
nice. We're looking at the Los Presidentes. They have a beautiful park over there. Slaughter Park is excellent. So there's a lot of things going on in the city that is nice, and so we're looking at other stuff that maybe it'll happen that I can't talk about right now, but we're exploring, and if it happens again, it's going to change the face of this community. I think so, if we do things intelligently. If we do our research, then it'll be good. So
That's great.
we're not shooting from the hip here.
No, I don't think you all were, or not anybody else was. I think everybody's kind of understanding where everybody is now.
Mhm.
I think this Gang of 5 and Gang of 6 and Gang of 3 and all these other names that have been going on that were always caused by the same people on disgruntles in Facebook. I think
I call them Noaholics.
the Noaholics, no,
Everything is
the
no,
disgruntles,
and they know nothing. The Noaholics.
you know, that hate group of our Laredo. I'm glad that it's gone.
Well, I didn't
gone its way
mention
there.
them, but
Well, you know, I would, but you know, that's what I'm looking at.
but you've got some good individual people there
But,
as well. So
What I look at is that when you see that disgruntledness and you start seeing people over here saying, you know what, I'm no longer buying to that. Let's go forward.
well,
And you start seeing the council change. The actual attitude that I've seen, it's different.
well, when you cry wolf too many times, after a while, people just don't listen to you. So it's like I've said. I mean, it's okay to have a watchdog group. You want them there. You know, it keeps you on your toes, so to speak. But
They're no everybody's, you know.
well, but pick and choose. Pick and choose. Don't just attack everything. Because after a while, you're crying wolf all the time, and nobody pays attention to you. So
You're absolutely right. So what do we see next?
what do we see next?
What's your next step right now?
Right now, well, right now I'm dealing with a old hospital in the Heights area with the Carrancos and trying to make that happen. Right now we're talking about the improvement of the downtown area. Right now we're talking about the improvement of the infrastructure for our water sewer. So there's and we're also talking about the parks. Because the parks is they've got a crew to do certain things, and then those crews are pulled from there to go over there, and then they're pulled from here to go there and here, and so pretty soon you've got crews going everywhere and nothing gets done, or it doesn't get done right. And so again, we lack the one director that can put all of this together. We're doing okay, but okay is not okay for me in my book. We need to be the best, because after all, we're providing a service.
If we claim to be the best, we better be the best.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Let's be that fire department.
And in that police department,
And
because they're doing great. They're doing great.
I agree.
You know, our first responders.
The police chief
are number one.
and the assistant chiefs are second to none. They're
doing
really
great.
good.
You know, the fire department is like.
Chief Landine goes back a long way. We're doing a good job with him too.
And, he's excellent. And once more, thank you for stepping up.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And come back over here and let us know what else is going on.
And remember, gloves off.
Gloves off all the time. Folks, until next time here in Gloves Off. Peace.
Gloves Off is always on point. On point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by The Best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off.